Welcome back, folks, to the next episode of Donkey Kong Country 3. So we just got done saving, and we're going to head further into World 4, which this episode actually gives me difficulty, and we don't actually get to the boss. It would seem like, just because I would assume that there's only 2 or 3 stages left, that we would get to the boss, but this game starts to really kind of numbingly ramp up the difficulty curve in this game, and it's just kind of in a sense where it's just lazily kind of happening, but now it's kind of like, hey, this is World 4. Despite the kind of gummy interior of this game and the aesthetic behind it, it still is very much a video game that does have an ending and tough stages. So it's just kind of, don't let the aesthetic of this game fool you. That's kind of the thing. So, but this is kind of a clever concept for a stage, is a saw cutting through the trees and having to avoid it. It's not too often this has happened. I want to say that I don't think Mario has really done something like this. So kind of one of those situations, but yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, just like that jump right there, I mean, really you would have thought that that jump would have been necessarily made, but I guess they were kind of expecting you to kind of do something more with that. It was kind of a cheap trick, but yeah. So trying to think of what's been going on. By this stage, I've been trying to come up with more YouTube shorts for my vlog channels, but these are just not easy to do. And on top of that, I kind of feel like I've been blackballed from YouTube for whatever reason. Maybe YouTube just doesn't like my jokes. I mean, it's not like I'm doing anything insensitive, but it's just kind of, I mean, doing comedically induced videos, but the kind of touchy, newfangled sensitivity era that we're in. It's just kind of, I just feel like maybe YouTube feels like I'm not quite as conducive to like what they're trying to build for the platform, because to me YouTube is basically about nowadays just fluff and how-tos and top 10 lists, and that's about the straight and narrow of it. It's just kind of those relative concepts where, for the most part, if you're somebody, you'll have the income to build your budget and do it that way, as opposed to going from the ground up. But I mean, YouTube, I mean, even me noticing, there's no reason why my YouTube shorts should be not so much I'm bickering about it, but it's just kind of the concept that, YouTube shorts just 2 months ago, where if you did it, guarantee it would get 150, 350 hits just because you did it. But now it's just like, now there's kind of this, coincidentally at the time I show up, there's kind of a more, there's like criteria for it now, but this is kind of the situation. So I don't mean to sound all jaded. I know if you're watching this in the morning, you're like, oh, this isn't breakfast banter, but it's kind of like hell. But I also feel like you should be watching this at like 2 o'clock in the morning also. I mean, definitely easy stuff. If you picked up a pizza like a couple hours ago and you've got some in the fridge, you're going to heat that up, or you got like a nice cuisine dish that you're going to make for yourself. I understand it. It's kind of the thing. This is a perfect game for that. I'm trying to bring back YouTube so many times. I mean, there's people who are trying to push YouTube forward into 2023, and I'm trying to bring it back to 2012, just where you could do those sections where you could pick up a pizza at Pizza Hut, pick up some good food, cook something nice, just have this on in the background and just kind of notice it, and you'll hear something funny. Maybe you hear the characters get hit by a TNT barrel like he's getting ready to, or just I say something funny and, upon something stupid happening. It's just like, I mean, that's what's meant. I mean, you can play Donkey Kong Country 3, or you can watch someone funny play Donkey Kong Country 3 and get more life breathed into it, and that's what I'm trying to do here. But yeah, this stage really gives me a problem. We're going to be in this stage for the rest of the episode, so just understand that. This stage really kind of had me, not necessarily gritting my teeth, but just relatively annoyed me. This was kind of more pissed off than what it may seem in the gameplay. But, even like that character who has the Donkey Kong coin, you still have to be able to get him hit with some of those things. So it's just kind of, the barrels change quickly, so just like what I'm doing here is just too late, has to be instantly. Maybe the barrel's over there, I'm not really sure. There might be something that you have to do. You might have to bounce in the barrels, but Nope. Yeah, that's but you basically need Dixie. So yeah, what you're understanding here is you need Dixie Kong for the situation. But so yeah, I've just been kicking it, you know, that type of stuff, trying to figure things out. Apart from YouTube Shorts, there hasn't really been much going on. It's been kind of a lazy month, which is kind of disappointing, just because it's not necessarily what I would want. You know, I feel like for some reason it's just kind of. I mean, I know like in certain there's, you know, situations, it's hurricane season, things like that. You got tons of situations kind of going on with that, but I still have to wonder about like the laziness of YouTube. I don't know if people are just moving on, if they're more assuredly wanting to move to TikTok, or if they're moving to Instagram. I don't know. It just feels like it's either big YouTube channels or small YouTube channels, and that's kind of the problem. It's just, you know, this is something that's consecutively happened. I mean, if you're looking for something with a little bit more routine about it, that's what you really have to pay attention to is, you know, for a YouTube channel that you have to kind of question about, like, just the reception upon some. Yeah, this is kind of a tricky thing. I just finally started getting pissed off with it. That's just kind of, those barrels change back too quickly. Like, as soon as you fall down there, they change right back. There's just no way you have to bounce across them. And that's the way that they want you to do it. So, but really, using Dixie Kong is probably the ideal thing. She just is able to cheat through those segments, but. But of course, the thing is, if you're using Dixie Kong first and she gets hit, so you get the idea. But this might be kind of a gripey episode. I know I've already recorded the gameplay, but it just annoys me watching me lose. It's kind of the situation. I've said that too many times, but it does. Or at least, I mean, it's somewhat entertaining, but still, it's just kind of, you know. This is what I talk about with the difficulty of these. I mean, they really were kind of crafty with some of these in terms of how that sort of stuff happened, but I'm just trying to think of what's been going on. There really hasn't. I mean, the news has been pretty central. I mean, the same stuff. I mean, it's not an overabundance of, like, trying to. Like, I watched a Boogie 2988 Francis video. He posted a new Francis video, which it's warming seeing new Francis videos just because he doesn't really do them as much. I mean, he typically does them at the end of the year these past few years, but sometimes he'll show up in, like, you know, 3 days before Halloween and then be there until, like, the week before Christmas. You only get, like, 4 or 5 of them, but this is kind of... It is encouraging to get some new Francis videos. You know, he's made appearances on acidic roots and such, so it's good to kind of see that he's still got it. You know, obviously, kind of the situation, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, my recommendation in a lot of ways is I almost feel like the other Kong is probably the one to go ahead and use first, because Dixie here, you know, she's just the more invaluable in certain stages, and this is kind of the situation. If you want more of a challenge, I'd go for this guy, but you know, this is kind of, it's one of those situations, you know. So yeah, I am actually kind of hungry. I'm going to have to figure out some sort of food for myself that I want for the evening. You know, this would actually be an ideal thing to kind of watch. You know, just, you know, if it weren't me doing this. I mean, this would be something I would just say, hey, you know, I feel like watching Donkey Kong 3. Someone who plays this game but doesn't necessarily make it like a speed run and isn't trying to beat the game in like 5 episodes, something like that. I mean, really, it's not like it bugs me. I mean, I wasn't expecting my Donkey Kong Country 2 playthrough to be that lengthy. I really felt like it was probably going to be like, I thought my Donkey Kong Country 2 playthrough was going to be like 16 parts, but it wound up being like 22 or 23. and that's not even me beating the game 100%. So that's this kind of thing. Probably would have been like almost 30 had I done it that way, but I was just tired of that game. I just realized it was going to really start pissing me off, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to beat the final boss, the absolute final boss, but kind of the thing. It's the same thing with this game. I've actually never beaten this game 103%, because there is some tricky stuff. This is really like where they went all out, where it's just like, hey, if you can do this one, this is probably the toughest of the 3 at the end. If you want 100% it, this is the toughest one, but if you don't, it's fairly simple. I'm noticing my palms are kind of itching. You know, I guess that's a concept of saying that, like, that means you're going to get money, but I just kind of random tangent, just scratching my hands here. So, yeah, that was a belch. You know, I guess you can get some joy. I haven't eaten anything today for the most part, so it's kind of odd that happened. So you know, when you eat something and you belch, that's just very odd, just because they taste funny. It's kind of an awkward thing. It's just like, ugh, that's like, ugh, get that away from me, you know. But I've had water today, you know. That's really about it. I've had cranberry juice a couple hours ago, but apart from that, it's just like, surely that wouldn't be the thing. Yeah. So yeah, this stage by this stage was pissing me off. Just kind of trying to say, I just have realized I have to use the other character for this, just to kind of be able to say, like, they know that this stage is going to piss people off. That's really the thing about it. I mean, it is fun in a sense. I give it credit that just the cleverness towards it. They have created something that most video games didn't really go and do, but it's kind of like hell. Alright, so we're about done with the stage. That was it. Alright, folks, so basically all I do after this is just go and save, but we'll get to, like, the next episode after this, and we'll try to get out of World 4 and see what happens next. So stay tuned for that, subscribe for more fun, thanks for watching, and have a wonderful night.